All right, speaking of playing games, we thought playing a game would be a great way to get some, I don't know, some info and answer some of your election questions. It's happening tomorrow, by the way, this election, if you haven't heard. And by this time, we've kind of addressed these things in virtually every way imaginable. So we thought we'd, well, put a spin on it, literally. And Joe, you've combined several of these viewer questions under what do we want to call this thing, by the way? It's a wheel, it spins. What are we going to call this?
You asked me this earlier today, Brian. I can only settle on the Wheel of Wow.
The Wheel of Wow, we like it.
That's
okay,
it.
so what we're going to do is we're going to spin this wheel.
We are.
I'm going to control that here. So kind of, this is my game, and I've got to try to answer these questions. Is that correct?
Right. I'm Bob Barker, so you're the contestant.
Let me hit that button and see what happens. Is it lining up there?
Hit it.
You just give me a little touch screen there, Joe.
You got it?
A little spin. There we go.
Thank you very much.
All right,
here it goes. All right, Brian, this category is partisan offices. Don writes in, Brian, why are so many elected offices partisan? Shouldn't it just be for offices that make policy? Coroner, sheriff, controller, treasurer, et cetera, et cetera. Seems to be administrative positions. Look forward to your thoughts. That is from Don. Brian, you have an idea as to why Idaho has partisan and nonpartisan elections?
I don't, other than that it's something that was written in the Constitution. Is that correct?
That is correct. It is specified in Idaho code that municipal elections are actually supposed to be nonpartisan. Now, in more recent years, we've seen some politicization of these municipal races, these city races that are not supposed to be political, but well, that's the way it goes. All right, so Brian's 1 for 1.
All right, spin it again, Joe.
Spin it again.
I can't seem to get control over here. We got it.
All right, I'm your spin master here. Here we go. Help for voting. This is a good category ahead of the election, Brian. Larry writes, are there resources at the polls available to a person with a disability or who is blind? Larry, thanks for your question. Brian, what do you say?
We touched on this last week a little bit, and so I kind of know the answer to this, but I would have to say yes because, well, you can't just not let somebody vote because they can't either read it or, can't mark their ballot.
That's right. Your polling location should have the ability to help out people that maybe are visually impaired or they can't hear so good. But Pam Eckert, who is the Bingham County clerk, she weighs in on this. She has some advice for you at home.
Well, when they go and check in with the poll worker, they just have to tell them that they'd like to use the accessibility voting machine. And they'll just guide them to that and direct them how to use it, and then they can vote and cast their ballot.
Brian, and if you want to bring someone with you, you can also do that. If you need someone there to help you with it, they got all kinds of things for people that just need a little bit of help voting. So make sure you vote.
5 more. Let's go. Spin that wheel.
Spin the wheel. Here we go. And Brian, this category is, a popular one.
It's
a liner there. This is actually going to be SJR 102. Brian, we just missed that liner, and Trent writes to us. Does SJR 102, the constitutional amendment on the ballot, eliminate the 100-year-old limit of special sessions, no longer than 20 days? Why has no one talked about this? Well, Trent, we will talk about it right now. But Brian, what's your answer?
I know we talked about this in the newsroom today. We didn't realize there was a 20-day limit on these special sessions, but apparently there is, and it is in the Constitution. I don't know. Does it address this? I don't know.
Okay, so this is kind of a really intricate situation here. So the constitutional amendment, again, it is going to give the legislature the ability to call themselves back into session if Idahoans vote yes. Now, that's a part of the Constitution that is not this part right here that you're looking at. You're going to see the bottom of your screen here. It says, when convened in extra session by the governor, no such session shall continue for a period longer than 20 days. So you may wonder, okay, well, if the lawmakers call themselves back, if that passes, would they be held to that same idea? And Brian, it appears to us the answer would be no, because the SJR 102, it's changing a different part of the Constitution. This part of the Constitution wouldn't be changed. So Trent's right, there has been a lot of conversation about it, but that's the way it appears to us here at KTVB.
All right, let's keep rolling. We got 4 to go. I think I'm doing all right? 2 and 1, maybe?
I think you're doing all right. Let's see here. Campaign funds. Oh, this is a real good question here. This one comes in. It says, what happens if a candidate does not use up all the campaign funds? Where do they go? Well, Brian, where do the campaign funds go? Do you have an answer?
Do they just sit in an account somewhere and in case they run again at some other point? How does that work?
That's part of the answer, but we actually have a guest answer for you. We're going to go to the Secretary of State's office. They'll tell us what happens.
So any funds that are left over in a campaign after a candidate wraps up their campaign can certainly be carried forward for future races. There are limitations depending on the office that that individual may have been running for on how those campaign funds can be utilized in another race or for another office down the road. So there's some contribution limits. It ends up ultimately being able to be contributed to other areas. Or it can simply all, if the campaign wants to close out the account, they can simply donate it all to a nonprofit or another campaign within the campaign finance limits as are pertinent to that particular office.
Okay,
so there it is.
So they can't just blow it all at Applebee's, is what you're saying?
No, they can't.
They cannot. All right, one more spin. Let's go.
All right, we got a few more. We got a few more minutes here, so we got to really wrap this up, though, Brian. So quick answers. This category, is it legal? This is a good one. Hashtag the 208. Is it legal for election workers to ask you about what party you're belonging to before they hand you your ballot? That is from Angela and Payette. And Angela, I know what you're getting at here. So during the primary election, there were ballots for Democrats, there was ballots for Republicans, for Libertarians, because it was an inter-party election. So that's why they might have asked you about your party affiliation during the May primary, but here in the general election, it doesn't matter what party you're in. You're getting the same vote. So
I knew that one.
I knew that one.
answer.
Brian,
Okay.
I knew you knew that one. So
where's it going to end up this time?
I don't know. We got two choices here. Fate of the ballots.
Good
this
question.
Is a good
one to end on. This is a good one to end on.
Good one to end on. Our last one. So after an election, what happens to all the ballots? Are they kept for 60, 90 days, or a year? When it comes to the time to get rid of it, how do they dispose of them? Are they shredded? That's from Kayla in Nampa. Thank you very much, Kayla. Brian, you got an answer for this?
Bonfire and Cecil Andrews Park.
That's not in the state code, but we can pull up the state code. Let's take a look here. Yeah, there's that. Oh, he got it wrong. All right, let's pull this up. Now, you'll see here in the state of Idaho code, the following shall be retained for 2 years, and this is all part of the Idaho election laws. Completed absentee ballot request forms, tally books, and voted ballots must be retained for 2 years. And I got to be honest with you, Brian, I could not find an official Idaho code on how they need to be destroyed. So maybe a bonfire is good.
It seems like a reasonable way to do it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good for global warming and atmosphere. I don't know.
So
Either way.
anyways.
Well, that was fun.
That was good. Brian,
Joe?
you did pretty good.
Hopefully answered all the questions that you guys have. And you know what? Who said there was no spin on this show?
There's no spin on this show.
Yeah, there is actually right now.
Well, there it is.